Right now, somewhere out on the interstate, a sheet of stainless steel is peeling off the side of a brand new pickup truck and heading straight for the windshield behind it. Tesla glued those panels on. Thousands went out the door that way, and the highway safety people called it exactly what it is, a crash risk for whoever is following. And that is not even the badge you need to worry about. 6 brands are dying in the American truck market right now. Not slumping, not a soft quarter, dying. One had more trucks recalled in a single year than it sold. One turned the lights off in a Michigan plant an hour from my driveway, and the badge at number 1 is selling just fine. That is exactly why it is number 1, and there's a good chance it is parked in your driveway. Here is the real reason it is hitting all 6 at once. This is not 6 separate stories. 2 things are squeezing these companies from opposite ends. Rules from above on a schedule no buyer voted for, and cheaper trucks from below. But underneath that, there is one piece of hardware that keeps turning up, badge after badge, and by number 1 you are going to recognize it, because there is a good chance it is bolted inside your engine right now. And here is why all of this lands on you instead of on them. When a brand goes under, the men who ran it into the ground land soft, a package, a press release, another job by spring. You get the parts counter. You get the warranty claim nobody wants to honor. You get the service department that was 20 minutes away and is now 90. Number 6. The Jeep Gladiator. The good first. The Gladiator is the only mid-size pickup you can buy with the doors off and the windshield folded flat, and it kept a solid front axle when everything else went independent. Then the question that kills every truck built on somebody else's platform caught up with it. A fella walks around it on the lot, looks at the grill, looks at the bed, and says it out loud. Isn't that just a Wrangler with a bed on it? You cannot unask that. Now the part that costs you money. On the 2020 through 2022 trucks, there is a failure. Owners had to name themselves Death Wobble. You hit a bump at highway speed, and the front end shakes hard enough to tear the wheel out of your hands. It feeds itself, and most men only stop it by breaking down to about 40. And here is what the dealer is not going to tell you. If somebody already hung a new steering damper on it, nothing got fixed. A damper masks a wobble. It does not cure one. Ask what else on that front end got replaced, and if the only answer is the stabilizer, that shake is coming back. Sales went 89,000 in 2021 down to 42,000 in 2024. Toledo laid off 1,000 people in January. They are turning the tap down slow and hoping you do not watch which way it goes. Number 5. The Honda Ridgeline. This is the badge your father told you to buy so you would never think about the thing again. And the Ridgeline is good at what it is. It rides better than any mid-size truck out there. But it has a car's bones. No frame, no low range. And that V6 shuts down its rear bank to save fuel. The valves on those 3 cylinders get held shut while the pistons keep pumping, so each one pulls a vacuum and drags oil right past the rings. The rings gum up, the plugs foul black, and then it misfires. I have had these apart, and the tell is beautiful if you know it. Pull one plug off the rear bank and one off the front bank and lay them side by side on the fender. The rear one comes out black and wet. The front one looks almost new. 2 plugs out of the same engine that do not match is your answer, and it costs you 10 minutes. Now do not get comfortable because it is a Honda and you drive a Chevrolet. General Motors does the same thing. They call it active fuel management, and the newer one dynamic fuel management, and it has been going into Silverados and Sierras since 2014. Shut down half the engine, save a little fuel. Remember that. It comes back. Here is what tells you everything about Honda though. The fix owners actually use is not a Honda part. It is a $100 box off the aftermarket that fools the computer into thinking the engine never warmed up, so the system never switches on. Men are paying money to shut off a feature Honda sells as a benefit. Number 4. The Ford F-150 Lightning. This one is going to sting, because it is not some startup nobody has heard of. This is an F-150. Same cab, same bed, same badge, that has been the best-selling truck in this country longer than most of us have had a mortgage. Here is the mechanical piece. Ford recalled Lightnings built between 2022 and 2024 over how the battery cells were made. The electrodes inside could come out misaligned, and misaligned electrodes short out inside the pack. Ford's own filing says it increases the risk of fire, and they were already looking at 5 trucks that had caught. Now sit with this next part, because it is the whole video in one story. Ford told those owners not to charge past 80% until it was fixed, and the replacement packs were months away. So you have a truck you paid a premium for, you are told to only fill it 4/5 of the way, and you wait. That is what it looks like when the company has the problem. You do the waiting. Then in December, Ford ended it. Production of the electric Lightning is done. Ford planned on 150,000 a year, and its best year ever was 33,000. And the name comes back around 2028 with a gasoline engine in it to keep the battery charged. Read that again. Ford's answer to the electric truck nobody bought was to put an engine back in it. Number 3, Nissan. And before you tell me you never wanted one, look at what that badge used to say. Datsun. A lot of us learned to drive in a little Datsun pickup that started every morning on nothing but oil changes. Same company. The Titan is dead. 2024 was the last one. There is no 2025, no 2026, and Nissan does not sell a full-size pickup in this country anymore. There are 2 recalls on the 2020 through 2023 Titans, and the defect is this. The dash tells you the truck is in park while the truck is still able to roll. Think about that in a driveway on a grade with a grandchild behind it. On the 5.6 V8, the timing chain tensioners weep oil and let the chain go slack, and that shows up first as a hard start on a cold morning. And the 9-speed behind it in 2020 and 2021 hunts, clunks, and lurches. But the real problem with the Titan is not any one of those. It is that you are driving an orphan. An orphan is not a word about your feelings. Nissan built so few of these that the aftermarket never showed up, and dealers stopped sending men to training on a truck that does not exist. Your brake pads will be easy forever, because everybody makes those. A tailgate, a door skin, a module that only ever went in a Titan, that is where the hunting starts. And the company behind it is in no shape to help. Nissan just posted its worst loss in 25 years, cut 20,000 jobs, and is closing 7 factories. The Titan did not break. Nissan did. If this is saving you a bad afternoon at a dealership, hit like and subscribe. That is the whole thing that puts it in front of the next fella. Number 2. The Tesla Cybertruck. I will be fair to it. It is quick. Genuinely quick. It will out-accelerate almost anything with a bed on it, and nobody had ever built a production pickup out of bare stainless steel. That took nerve. Here is what the nerve bought. The body panels are glued on, not welded, not bolted, bonded with adhesive, and the adhesive lets go. Tesla recalled 46,000 Cybertrucks over one strip of trim along the roofline that can peel loose and come off the truck while it is moving. Sit with that a second. Not a sensor, not a software bug. The skin of the truck, leaving in traffic. That is one of 4. They recalled 3,800 of them because the cover on the accelerator pedal can slide off and wedge the pedal wide open. They recalled every rear-wheel drive Cybertruck ever built, all 173, because the wheels could come off. And in October they pulled another 63,000 because the parking lamps were too bright to be legal. Stay on that pedal recall a second, because it is the one that bothers me. A trim panel comes off and you get a body shop bill. A cover that slides down and holds your throttle wide open is a different animal. That is a truck still pulling while you stand on the brake with both feet. Here is the thing that saves you, and nobody teaches it anymore. You put it in neutral, not the brake, neutral. That works in anything you will ever drive. Add it up. In 2025 alone, 115,000 Cybertrucks sat under a recall campaign. They sold 20,000 that year. That is more trucks recalled in 12 months than they sold in 2 years put together, and sales fell 48%. I have watched plenty of trucks get built badly. I have never once watched one shed its own bodywork on the highway. Number 1. Ram. And here is the one you were not expecting, because Ram is not failing in the showroom. They moved 374,000 trucks last year. That is nearly 3 times every other truck on this list put together, and sales were up 17%. The trucks are selling. What is happening to Ram is worse than not selling. Warren Truck Assembly sits about an hour from my driveway. On October 12th of 2024, the last Ram 1500 Classic came down that line and 1,100 people were laid off. I have watched this where I live. Oldsmobile, Pontiac, Saturn, Hummer. The badge outlives the plant every time, and the men who built them find out by rumor. But the reason Ram sits at number 1 is the Hemi, and here is where the whole thing comes together. The 5.7 shuts down cylinders to save fuel. Same idea as the Honda, same idea as the Chevrolet. Those lifters get their oil through a passage about the size of a pin, and that passage varnishes over. The lifter quits doing its job, and the camshaft lobe underneath it gets wiped flat. Metal goes through the oil from there. That bill runs $4,000 to $8,500, and I have had one on the lift where the cam looked like somebody took a file to it. That is 3 trucks on this list now. Honda, Ram, and the one on your own tailgate if it says Chevrolet or GMC. 3 badges, 3 engineering departments, all doing the same trick to the same part. And so you know exactly where you stand. General Motors has never recalled a single truck for it. That fight is sitting in federal court right now, and a judge told them in March they could not split the case up to make it smaller. So here is how you catch it, and it is the best 5 minutes you will spend on a used truck. Get to it cold, not warmed up for you, cold. Start it and listen to the top of that engine. A lot of these tick cold, and most of that is exhaust manifold bolts, which is a nuisance. But manifold tick quiets down inside a minute as the metal expands. A lifter does not care how warm it is. So let it idle 10 minutes, and if that tick is still going when the gauge comes up, walk away. And if one is already in your driveway, the cheapest insurance there is an oil change every 5,000 miles. Varnish in that little passage is what starts the whole thing. A $100 habit against an $8,000 repair. Ram will still sell you a truck. It is just building them in fewer places now, with a part it never went back and fixed. So, that is your 6, and it is the same story 6 times. Rules from above. Every builder here is under mandates to sell a mix of electric trucks on a timetable nobody at your dealership set. Stellantis said it plainly when the lights went out at Belvedere. The electric side of a truck went from about $2,000 to $4,500. Price from below. Every truck here is undercut by somebody offering more equipment for less money, and the plants that cannot make that math work go quiet first. And squeezed in the middle, every one of them went hunting the same few miles per gallon and reached for the same shortcut to get it. Shut off half the engine and hope the oil holds up. So what do you do with all this, standing on a lot with a pen in your hand? First, do the cold start. Every time. Tell them you want to hear it before anybody touches it, and if it is already warm when you get there, come back another day. A warm engine is the oldest trick on a used lot. Second, find out whether that truck shuts down cylinders, and ask it in those words, not the brochure name. Ask what the oil change interval was and whether he can show you it got done. If he cannot answer, you have learned something about how that truck was kept. Third, and almost every man watching has this one backwards, there is no law that makes anybody build you a part. People think there is a 10-year rule. There is not one line of it anywhere, and the Highway Safety Administration says so in writing. Your brake pads will be on a shelf in 15 years. A tailgate for a truck they stopped building might not be there in 5. 6 badges, 6 warnings, and every one is sitting on a lot somewhere this afternoon being sold like nothing is going on. So do me a favor and put it in the comments. Which one of these is parked at your house and what has it cost you? Say the brand and what happened, because your bad afternoon might save the next fella. And if you want the whole approach in one place, picking a vehicle, keeping it, or walking away, I put together a book called The Right Ride. It covers the buying traps, the maintenance that matters, and the models worth a look. No hard sell. There's a link in the description. Either way, hit like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Drive safe, and get there before the engine does. This is Frank.